Welcome back. We are now hearing from Dominic Williams, the founder and creator of Internet Computer Protocol, presenting a realistic case where the Internet Computer can be used to make AI more secure and reliable. This, as we're also hearing some users in the crypto ecosystem calling ICP a ghost chain. And so in today's video, we're going to be doing a well-regarded market update on the Internet Computer. As you guys know, I have historically been a very big Internet Computer bull. We've been talking about Internet Computer for years on this channel. And just recently, we had a major pump and dump, right? A major run up and then run down in the price of ICP. And a lot of people in the market are wondering whether ICP is still a good investment and what my viewpoint is on it. Well, we're not just going to understand what my viewpoint is, but we're also going to understand what the market is saying about Internet Computer. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or you're right. It matters what the market is doing and what our portfolios are doing. Because that is the true indicator of what is right in these markets is, well, I mean, are you making money in the market? Because if the answer is yes, then you're right. If you're not making money, the answer is no, you're not right. And that doesn't mean you have to be in one asset, right? You could be neutral and not in an asset. And it doesn't mean you're right or wrong, you're just neutral. You don't have any position in it. And so we're going to listen to this video of Dominic kind of talking about ICP and the AI capabilities. And we're also going to explore some of the metrics on the network and some of the sentiment, including, is Internet Computer a ghost chain? The answer to, in my view, is not really, but some people view it as a ghost chain the same way that they view other blockchains as a ghost chain, because compared to Bitcoin, compared to Ethereum, even somewhat compared to Solana, they don't have that much usage, right? There's not that many users. There's not that many integrations. There's not that many partnerships and back-end integrations of the technology. And that's really what they talk about when people are saying ghost chain. At least that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. And again, I'm not saying ICP is a ghost chain, but we are going to explore how some in the ecosystem are saying that ICP is a ghost chain, like many of these other cryptos out there. But before we do that, make sure you guys give the video a free thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to give you guys my unbiased and neutral opinion on this market, right? And I think that that is really the only way to invest, is looking at it from a objective standpoint and not getting all fanboy, fangirl into the individual asset. So let's listen to Dominic in this recent video that All In Crypto posted at the end of November 2025. But before we do, make sure you guys do hit that thumbs up button. Let's get into it. Now, this may be a little loud. I have it on half volume, but it still seems loud. So just be aware if you're wearing headphones. Let's listen in. And we're going to play this at 125 speed.
A law firm that wants to use a model like Llama 3 to optimize their services. So they want to give Llama 3 access to all of their most sensitive, confidential client communications from email and messaging, and also things like relevant case law and canonical legal text and so on. But this law firm is going to need two things for that to be successful. Number one, this AI needs to be immune to cyber attack. Because if they run this AI on traditional technology, on current IT, like Amazon Web Services, and it gets hacked, it's like a hot wallet for all their most confidential, sensitive data. And a lot of their clients' lives are going to be destroyed when that information is stolen. The law firm is going to be destroyed. So it has to be hack-proof, number one. Number two, it needs to be unstoppable. It needs to always run. Because imagine that today, it might take a lawyer to, 3 weeks to prepare for a client case. Maybe with the AI, it'll take 3 days instead of 3 weeks. So imagine the lawyer, like 5 days before the case, he starts preparing because he thinks he has the AI. But when he goes to log on to the AI to chat and to hear its analysis, it's crashed or it's encrypted with ransomware. That just can't happen because, obviously, yeah. So that's why we think, one of the reasons that, ICP's platforms are going to be very, very important for running AI and for running things like vector databases, which contain the data and context the AI uses. So that's one application. Also for autonomous things like smart wallets, that you can give your crypto smart wallet trading instructions. Well, guess what? It has to be a smart contract. Otherwise, how can you trust it? On the other hand, we believe that the future of enterprise tech is going to look very different. And when people want information systems today, they either build them, which is very expensive, risky with respect to time and money,
and so that's where it cuts out. But I think what Dominic is talking about here, we've talked about on the channel when we're talking about ICP's AI capabilities. Now, keep in mind, the large language models that they're using are not running on chain. This still seems to be, with a lot of the ICP believers, that a false narrative that they still believe that Caffeine AI is running on chain. It's not. It deploys whatever it builds on chain. These are very different things. Part of the reason is probably because of the testing, and they want to keep it in a very controlled environment so that they can monitor what's going on, how accurate it is, and to make sure that it is secure. Because like you said, this doesn't just have to do with Caffeine AI or ICP's AI capabilities. This has to do with any AI system, right? If you're running a large business, think about like, Amazon or Google or Target or Walmart, right? You don't want all of the data from all of your business departments and business analytics on a server that could be hacked, because now all of your customer information, all of your business intel and stuff like that is completely available to your competitors, who can use that info and one up or leg up your business operations. So these are definitely valid points that he has. And these are some of the things that a decentralized secure network can do. I mean, even think about just recently, we've had a lot of internet service providers going down. Dominic wrote on X, when Cloudflare went down, apps on chain on the internet computer continued running. However, some users experience issues where apps use Cloudflare for domain name services. So the decision made, we're going to bring that on chain too. So they're bringing everything on chain so that there is no reliability on these centralized services that could potentially go down. Now, the question could be, well, what if the internet computer goes down? Well, that's the point of these decentralized networks. And I would imagine the centralized networks have some form of decentralization as well, where there's not just one server center. There's probably multiple backups throughout the world. So if one service center goes down, the other backups can go back online and continue the operations. That's the whole idea behind decentralization, where there's no central point of failure. There's multiple Bitcoin mining machines everywhere throughout the world. So if one area of the world loses connectivity to the internet or loses power, the other operations continue the network from going down. That's really the idea behind decentralization. And so when we're thinking about the internet computer, listen, there's a lot of great technology here, and there's a lot of potential for the future. But the thing is, it hasn't gotten as much of usage or spotlight than some of the other companies that we've heard about. OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, xAI's Grok. I mean, even Fetch AI has their ASI-1, which is Artificial Superintelligence 1, which is also a large language model. And almost nobody, even in crypto, knows anything about it or that it even exists, let alone people outside of the crypto or blockchain world. And I don't know whether this has to do with marketing, whether this has to do with the fact that there's just no use cases for these blockchain ecosystems in the AI world. But here's the deal. I don't think ICP is going anywhere. And I think that the network is very robust into the fact that there will probably be use cases and tests and pilot programs to test this kind of technology. But, Dfinity definitely has to do a better job of, in my view, and again, these are just my opinions and analysis. You guys can disagree with it. That's totally fine. They could take this info and not do anything with it. That's fine also. At this point, it's really a point of they need to get customers. They need to get people using, and not just individuals, right? Not you and your friend or another holder of ICP and a Caffeine AI enthusiast. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about large companies, right? Large firms that can use this technology as a proof of concept. And then it can roll out to more and more, and or potentially even get bought up by some of the big players in the game, right? Imagine NVIDIA, or imagine ChatGPT, OpenAI, right? Maybe they say, okay, we're going to put some aspects of our ecosystem on this decentralized cloud computing network, like the internet computer. Maybe that's going to be something that we see in the future. And we know that they are aware of internet computer. We know that these big players know that the internet computer, what they're building and how they're trying to build it. And if you look at where most of their, the servers are, it's in Europe, a lot are in the United States, a lot are jurisdiction specific as well. And so I think that the build out there also says a lot about the potential use cases for these networks, even if it's on a very low level, right? Not companies using it for data processing, but people using it for help with studying, maybe learning different languages and education, or maybe they're going to be using it for things like traffic data or Google Maps data or something like that, right? I'm just throwing things out there that are potentials. But they also have to get past the fact that there's a lot of people that still believe ICP is a ghost chain. Now, what exactly is a ghost chain? Effectively, a ghost chain is a blockchain that has no usage and very, very little on-chain activity. This user on X wrote, "Internet computer raised $167 million, another ghost chain. Its first Binance candle opened at $1.3 trillion, fully diluted value." Back in 2021 when it launched. The highest total value locked was $6 million on the network, and that comes from a place called ICP Swap. 99% of all activity on the chain comes from spam bot voting transactions that from SNS DAO nonsense. The only remaining holders are the retail buyers and their relatives who bought it between 50 billion and 300 billion fully diluted in 2021's bull run. And we know what happened with ICP's price back in 2021. It went from effectively like IPO'd at or ICO'd at like $700 at launch, and it came down to $2 in the bear market. I don't even know if this is pulling. Let me pull this on the 1-year chart, and then let's pull it back so you can see. I mean, it was an absolute abysmal like cratering of the price when it first launched. And so, yeah, it did have a really terrible launch, and a lot of people did buy $200, $300, $400, $500, and they lost all their money, right? But I do think that since then, there's been a lot of technological upgrades and technological advancement and maturing of the network, and really the users of the network as well, and the holders of the coin. So I wouldn't necessarily agree that they're all just, early investors. But point taken. He said the only reason it's somehow still sitting at $3 billion market cap is because the mysterious internet computer branding gives people the illusion of some universe cracking technology going to zero. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that is how some people view the ICP ecosystem, right? Personally, I'm bearish on ICP at this point from a price perspective, right? On the ICP token. But I'm not bearish on the technology because I do think the technology has the ability to grow. It really just depends on what the community does with that and what Dfinity does to expand the usage. Because remember, ICP is not the coin, right? The Internet Computer Network is this vast decentralized ecosystem of servers that can do a lot of different things. The ICP token is the valuation of the coin that helps drive the mechanics from a monetary perspective in this decentralized ecosystem. But effectively, Dfinity could turn off the ICP token and say, okay, now we're just going to use dollars to actually, pay the revenue on the network and all of that. Whether they do that or not, that's a different story, but they potentially have the ability to do that. And so the ICP token I'm bearish on, where the technology I'm very bullish on, because I think there's a lot of potential use cases for this. And really, Dfinity is the only one in the world, on the globe, that is doing something to this degree in a public decentralized network that anyone can really interact with for the most part. And so I don't necessarily believe that the network itself is going to zero. But from a price perspective, yes, there are a lot of questions that we have from a dollar perspective, from a price perspective, from a market cap perspective, and how they're going to ramp up the usage of the token. This is the problem with all cryptocurrencies. It's not just ICP, right? How are you going to ramp up the usage of the hype coin or the XRP coin when Ripple is dumping the coin on the market every single month? That's the question and the difference between the technology, the Ripple XRP ledger, and the XRP coin. It's the difference between Dfinity's ICP network and the ICP coin. These are two different things in my view. Now, Fabio, a well-known ICP maximalist and also a user of the network or developer on the network, he said, what you call zero has helped me build a dashboard fully on-chain with zero coding skills. Now, that user who said that it's a ghost chain said, get a life, bro. He said, look, you have no arguments because you have no knowledge about the ICP blockchain. I'm available for a debate at any time based on data. And then Fabio also followed up saying, looks like I've been ghosted. Well, he got ghosted because he's part of a ghost chain. Pun intended. I'm just joking. But anyway, he said all these discussions about ICP have the aim to discredit the blockchain, end up with the following script. Fabio says, the script is they cherry pick some data and try to convince the masses that ICP is a scam, a rug pull, or a ghost chain. And I don't agree with either of them. I don't think that it's a rug pull. I don't think it's a ghost chain. I don't think it's a scam. I think it's real technology. I think it's real capabilities, real AI, large language model, but it's not on chain, right? So again, Caffeine AI is not Internet Computer Network. Caffeine AI is not ICP token. And a lot of the people in the ecosystem of ICP believe that it is, and they just keep repeating the same thing. Like, oh no, what do you mean, Cryptoviser? ICP is Caffeine AI. Caffeine AI is ICP. And it's like, no, it's not. The data says it's not. I think Dominic says it's not. Dfinity has said it's not. It's not the same thing. And it's not part of the same thing. And the revenue from Caffeine AI has no impact on the price of your coin. So those are real big different things. And that's why some people may call it a scam or a rug pull, because the users don't fully understand this difference, right? But again, you have to do your own research. It's not Dfinity's fault that you don't understand what they're telling you or what they're showing you. People who don't understand that Caffeine AI is not on chain, that's their fault for not doing the research. They want me to do the research for them. They'll write in the comments, Cryptoviser, cite your source. It's like, no, you go do a little bit of research and you'll find out that ICP is not running Caffeine AI. Caffeine AI is a separate off-chain product or program. Anyway, so that's maybe why some people are calling it a scam or a rug pull or a ghost chain. He said, you confront them with data and they have no counter argument, so they either discredit or ridicule you. But the other side is the same thing, right? I will say ICP has no impact, Caffeine AI has no impact on the price of ICP, and people will come on the channel and they'll say, you're an idiot, Cryptoviser, you should have no followers, Cryptoviser, you're a fucking idiot, you're so stupid. Like, that's what they will come back. And it's like, those people, number one, get blocked. But it also shows like high-level developers of these networks are not going to do that, right? This is very low level, very low IQ kind of arguments on both sides. I'm not saying it's just the ICP community. I mean, it's also the other side that is saying it's a ghost chain. But they're saying it's a ghost chain because anytime they say it's a ghost chain, they have people on their coming on their feed saying, no, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Go do some research. You're going to regret not buying the coin. It's like, what? That's not how people invest. They don't invest or not invest and then regret not investing. That's not how investors work. At least that's not how we work on this channel. Anyway, he said you call them out and they offer to debate them and they ghost you. And by the way, the point is you shouldn't have to convince anybody that the technology is real and is being used, right? People don't have to be convinced that NVIDIA is the largest tech company in the history of the planet. You just look on at the data and see, oh yeah, it's a $5 trillion company. This is the most valued company on the history of the planet from when I'm recording this video. So you don't have to convince anybody of it. And so these ecosystems going and trying to convince people that it's not a ghost chain, the only way that you can convince people it's not a ghost chain is to get people using the technology. And by the way, ICP is not really widely used. Even Caffeine AI is not widely used. There's not millions of users using Caffeine AI. There's not millions of users using ICP, right? It's the same thing that happened in the previous cycle. People wanted me to believe that there were millions of Cardano users. There's maybe thousands, maybe. I would say less than 10,000 total users of the Cardano network globally that are intentionally using the network, right? Maybe on the back end they're using it, but I'm talking about intentionally using it. And in ICP, Caffeine AI, very, very small usage. Because if it was very high usage, Caffeine AI would have a dashboard where we can see how many actual paid users there are. And if there were 1 million paid users at $20 a month, the ICP, the Caffeine AI model would be making $20 million a month. And they're not. They're not. There's no 1 million users using Caffeine AI. There's maybe hundreds, maybe. And so from that aspect to outsiders that are looking at Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin, it's a ghost chain compared to those. And I think that the ecosystem of ICP and all of the ecosystems, not just Internet Computer, this is a lot of different ecosystems, right? Litecoin, Cardano, Hyperliquid, ASI, I mean, all of these other blockchains, it's the same basic thing. There's very few actual users of the networks. And so if there was mass usage, you wouldn't have to prove that there's usage. You wouldn't have to have a debate. You wouldn't have to try to convince anybody. That's a big difference. So that's something to keep in mind, right? That Internet Computer is still in the early stages of development. AI is in the early stages of development. And so what they're trying to build, and I've never actually heard Dominic even allude to the fact that there are millions of users. He has alluded to the fact that there may be millions of applications on the network or millions of, or maybe not millions, but significant growth in the network. But I've never heard him say, oh yeah, this is the most widely used network in the history of the world, because it's not. But a lot of the users of the network or holders of the coin will say, oh yeah, no, what do you mean, Cryptoviser? There's millions of users. It's like, no, they're not. There's not, right? And so you shouldn't have to debate these people or try to convince them. You don't have to convince me of anything, right? If Internet Computer Network shows sustained growth and a lot of users and partnerships and integrations, you won't have to convince me of anything. I'm just going to start buying in. But this brings us to the price activity, because as we've been talking about, just recently, we posted a video on this channel saying I sold, and after that video was posted, look at what magically happened. The price of ICP started bouncing, and people were coming all up on my channel saying, Cryptoviser, you see, you're going to regret this. You're going to end up buying way higher. And it's like, no, I'm not buying at all, because this is a fake pump. Based on what? I don't know. It's a fake pump. How do I know it's a fake pump? Well, just look at the chart. But people will say, no, Cryptoviser, it was a real pump. It's like, no, look at the chart. It did a pump and a dump. Clearly, that's a fake pump. And so I think there was manipulation of the price to try to show that Cryptoviser is wrong and all of these other fudsters are wrong. And, you should buy into ICP. But this is what we call a dead cat bounce, exit liquidity. You don't have to prove that we're in a bull market if we're in a bull market. You don't have to prove that it's a good time to buy if it's a good time to buy. And when the ecosystem comes out, and every video, even if my video had nothing to do with ICP, because of that one video that I posted, they were coming on all of my videos and saying, see, Cryptoviser, look at the price activity today. And it's like, we invest on the macro on this channel. That's what we invest in. And the macro is the zoomed out, multi-month, multi-year picture of where the market is. And Internet Computer has been underperforming the top 3 of the top 50 in the worst performing cryptos. One of the worst performing cryptos in all of 2025 in the top 50. And then at the end of the year, we have a little fake pump and everyone's, oh, you see, Cryptoviser, you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong, you were wrong. It's like, you're missing the fucking point. The point is, ICP does not have any mainstream usage yet. ICP has Caffeine AI that launched 3 times, and there's still people that are saying, no, it didn't launch 3 times, it's not even launched yet, or it didn't launch 3 times. One was an alpha, one was a beta, then was a public release. It's like, it doesn't matter. There was all eyes on ICP during the first launch. The second and third launch, it was just diminishing returns at that, right? You were just continuing to launch the same thing. And if there was a partnership or an integration with one of these big AI companies, that would have been a different story, but that's not what we had. And we're here to trade the market in front of us, not the market that we want. And this is why it's really important that we are not bag holders. We are not emotionally attached to our bags on this channel, period. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? Because at the end of the day, if it's time to sell, it's time to sell. And no fake pump is going to get us to go buy back in and buy that top of that pump. A lot of people did. And we're back down. And so, in my view, Fabio has a lot of good points here. I don't think that ICP is a ghost chain. The network, the coin, it could be considered a ghost chain, right? Because there's really no activity. There's really no demand for the coin. And a lot of that is because there's not as much demand for the network. And remember, Caffeine AI is not running on chain. Will it in the future? Maybe, but right now it's not. And so for those reasons, I am bearish on the crypto, but I'm bullish on the technology. And hopefully Dfinity is able to get prepared and get partnerships and highlight and showcase this product. I do think a lot of what they're building is proof of concept for these big companies to sign on board and maybe have some type of integration or side integration for these networks that do need to operate all the time. But again, there's a lot of roadblocks and there's a lot of concerns and risks when it comes to AI technology and AI data that when you're looking at a public decentralized network, it makes a lot of these big companies worry that they want to do things themselves. But that doesn't mean that the future is not bright for internet computer. From a price perspective, I have no idea. The charts don't look good. And the network needs to advance to the point where the participants in the ecosystem don't have to try to prove their point or debate people, where the network activity speaks for itself. And we're not there just yet. And so with that, that's my update on the internet computer ecosystem. Let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, be respectful or you will be blocked. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget to give the video a free thumbs up on your way out. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.